Hello, my name is Amethyst Treleaven and this is Psychic Ogham reading number 791 for NR. Okay, so what we'll do is work through your Ogham reading for you. We'll start here and we'll work our way through. We'll spend just a little bit of time here and we'll spend much more time here because this is the Ogham staves representing the future. But we'll just start here first with willow or sail, and this themes all of your reading. And this is fabulous to have here, and you've got two other Oghams in here that are really important, that are linked with this, and they very rarely, all three of them, come out together. So this is really important, and this is about the gifts that you have psychically, intuitively. You have massive gifts, but you're not actually using them, NR, and I really encourage you to do so. I'm going to pick up on that a little bit more as we go through this. So this one here, willow or sail, is a very feminine tree. It talks about your need to be everything that you want to be, but magically, spiritually, if you like. For you, life is not just about money and physical possession. It's about being everything that you're capable of being. It's about growing who you are. And I keep feeling in here as well that there is so much more to life that you want, but you're unsure of where to get that, where it is, or even in fact what it is. And that kind of themes all of your reading here. This stave here is dua or oak. This themes your past 12 months or so. This is about hard work, determination, but it's also about supporting other people. It's about you being the dependable one, you being the one that always gets things done, that works hard for what you want, being diligent. But it's also about you not necessarily taking care of you. You give to other people. You serve other people, including your family, but also in your career choices. But you don't always get the responses that you want, and you serve other people often at your own expense. So you don't look after yourself as much as you could. Some of that is around the relationship with willow or sail, which is about that in the past you haven't necessarily believed that you were worthy of caring for yourself. You thought that other people were more important, and to a greater extent you still do think that. Typical of oak people, continuous givers to other people at the expense of their own physical and emotional health. These two here, underneath we have hazel or coal. This is the one that's related to this, so I'll spend a little bit of time talking about that. And pine or ilium. Now pine is about, in the last year or so, you really have wanted to look further afield. You've wanted to think a little bit more about what your lifelong goals are, or the goals for the next 2, 5, 10 years, as opposed to just focusing on each day. For you, you've begun to look further ahead, if you will. I want to pick up on hazel here, because I'm also going to pick up on hazel with this one here, which is apple as well. Hazel is about your inner wisdom. And we're not talking here about intelligence, we're talking here about innate soul, essence, core wisdom. And when you put that together with willow, what that actually says is that you have incredible gifts of intuition, of psychic ability, of creative ability, but you don't believe it, and you've suffocated them, because it was underneath this one, under the need to think that it's not important, that my intuitive gifts, those messages that I get each day, are just not important, because what's really important is my caring for other people, hence oak. Let's move on here to this one, which is about Beth or birch, or rather it is Beth or birch. This is in the position of what's happening for you right now. And Beth is very much about new beginnings. It's about new ways of seeing the world, and it's almost as though you've been cloaked for the last 12 months and longer than that, quite some time, cloaked insofar as you've not really been sure where you're going, particularly in terms of work, but also in terms of your soul, your purpose. You're still not sure really what that is, and the blindfolds are just beginning to drop from you, and you're just beginning to see, actually, I think there is more to life that I can give, because of course you're an oak person, so you're always going to give anyway. And for you, you're now at that point of looking at, well, I know that there is more, but what is that more for me? So let's have a look at that here for you, because there's some really interesting things here for you for the next 12 months. The first one that comes out is broom, and this themes your next 12 months. Broom is about sweeping clean and sweeping away all of the things, the people, the events, the memories, the situations, the processes, your own thoughts and words that hold you back. This is about getting rid of all of that so that you can step into your new future. It's as though your new future wants to come in to be with you, but it can't, because it's chocker full of the old stuff. You need to sweep that away so that there's plenty of room for broom to just walk in the door and give you those new experiences. Now, underneath this, we have apple sitting on the top. Now, this is the one that goes with these three here. This one here, which is hazel, willow, and apple, which is quirt, and it sits on top of elder or ruis. Now, that's a good thing. I'm going to talk about this one first. Elder or ruis is about regret. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you're going to make stupid decisions which you then regret. That's not what this is about at all. And because it's underneath, this is doubly important. This coming year is a time for you to learn new skills, not about your career, not about other people, not about things that you can do in the home, but it is a time for you to learn new skills that support you. This is a time for self-growth. That's what this is all about, and it's sitting on top of elder. And it's sitting on top of elder for a good reason, because if you don't explore who you are in the next 12 months, you're going to regret it. It's going to be another 12 months that have passed by without you taking up the opportunity to learn much more about who you are, where you want to go, your purpose in life, where you fit in the bigger world. So I'm really going to encourage you to think about how you do that. One of the things that you can do to bring that about is to get a pen and some paper, and I want you to write down on that paper all the goals that you have in this particular instance, in the short term, just for 12 months. So I want you to write down all the goals. What are the things that you want to achieve in the next 12 months? Okay, so that might be about that might be around your career. What do you actually want to achieve in your career? Write that down. Okay, what do you want to achieve in your relationships? Write that down. What do you want to achieve financially? And that doesn't necessarily mean how much money is in the bank, but that might mean for you superannuation, getting that into place and getting those legal things into place. Tell me about health. Write that down there as well. What are the health things that you want to achieve within 12 months? In terms of perhaps how much you weigh or how you feel each day. I want you to write those down so that you actually have them as a physical piece of paper that you can refer to and look at for the next year. Why do I want you to do that? Because this is sitting at the bottom of your reading, and this underpins your next 12 months, and this is Heather. And this is about partnerships, this is about love, this is about dedication, compassion, this is about honouring, and sometimes it's about doing that with other people, but more often, and particularly in your case, this is about doing that for you. So Heather says there is a need for you to develop a great deal more love and appreciation for who you are, so that those gifts, remember willow and apple and hazel down here, can absolutely blossom for you. So let's put that together in a little bit more, I guess, sense for you that begin to answer your questions. You asked about your career. and that there was no security for you, and where do you go with that? That piece of paper that you write down those goals on is crucial to answering that question for you. You are not in the right career. That is obvious, okay? That is very, very clear. I'll rephrase that. You're actually in the right career, but you're not in the right job, if that makes sense. You need to shift jobs and be in a position where you are appreciated, but more importantly, where you appreciate you. The reason why other people don't appreciate you is because you don't appreciate you. You haven't got to grips yet with what your gifts are. Remember all of these, with what your soul gifts are, with what your psychic gifts are. For you, there are two things that come to the fore. One is art. You are incredibly creative, but you're just suffocating that. And so I want you to think about all the different ways of art that inspire you and that motivate you. And that's not necessarily picking up a paintbrush. That might actually be something to do with making things, with craft, with writing, an art form that inspires you. I want you to pick that up and work with that. With that said, the art form that you choose initially inside the next 3 months will not be the long-term art form that you use thereafter, but it is a stepping stone to the art form that you will then use after that. So go with it, okay? Know that it's okay to change your mind in 3 months, in 4 months, in 5 months, and develop onto another art form as well. The other skill factor that is going to increase for you is a better understanding of your psychic, intuitive core gifts. You have amazing psychic ability, and we know that because these 3 staves are here. Very rarely do these 3 staves all come out at the same time, and it's screaming at me that you need to learn a lot more about that. Now that may be that you want to learn about tarot, for instance. That may be that you want to learn something about scrying. It may actually be a slightly different avenue, and it may be that you want to learn about some form of spirituality, be that perhaps Buddhism or paganism or Islam or whatever form of spirituality is that speaks to you. This is the time where you need to pick that up and run with that. And why? Because when you put those 2 things together, they feed the source of who you are. They fuel the soul of who you are. It's not about the next 12 months feeding the bank balance or feeding your step up the career channel. It's about feeding and fueling your growth of core, of soul, of essence. That is what's going to fuel you in the rest of your life. Once you've got that very clearly organised, that will become the stepping stone that then leads you to advances in your career, in the bank balance, where you live, all of those physical things of life. So that's what this is all talking about as well. I want to talk a little bit more here about physical health as well. I really encourage you to be aware of what you're eating. And I know you're going to be rolling your eyes at this point, but I do. I want you to go and talk to somebody who can support you with a more nutritious, dense diet that's got less calories, so that you're in a better position to look at the weight. Now, I'm also concerned a little bit about what I'm sensing here through the trees is that for you, it's not just about what you eat, but it's about how you put your whole life together. And once you untap that soul creativity and the artistry that's within you, then you're going to have much more motivation, and tiredness will be something that doesn't plague you anymore. Really important that you look at what you're eating, that you look at when you are eating. So get rid of sugar as much as you possibly can. Refined sugar, for instance, get rid of that. Also want you to go and talk to somebody about potential allergies, food allergies. There's a food source in your current diet which is depleting you. It's likely to be sugar, but everyone is different, so I really encourage you to go and look at that. I also encourage you to talk to a naturopath or a herbalist or a health specialist that you feel safe with, to find ways to give you a greater sense of energy that you currently have. I also keep hearing that you get sore muscles sometimes, or muscle ache, I guess, for the want of a better phrase. Again, I really encourage you to talk to a naturopath or a Western herbalist, or a health professional that you trust, to get that looked at. There is definitely an allergy in your that's coming through these trees that is talking to me that you need to get addressed as well. Other than that, in terms of your health, it's really important that you maintain a look at your emotional health, not just your physical health. And because of this oak thing that's been in here before, you tend to do all of that giving and giving and giving to other people without necessarily looking at your own emotional health. So if that means, as well as, remember, we're looking this year for you growing that spirituality that's been lying dormant within you, that you've kept telling yourself you haven't got time to look at. You do have time to look at it this year. And the creativity that you want to have as well. Those are two areas for you that are really important that you blossom in this year and take the time to learn on. But the third area for you is very much about taking time for you, having me time. So if that means that you sit in the bath with candles and essential oils, you do it. If that means that you sit on the grass and you do nothing for 10 minutes and just bathe in sunshine, then you do it. If that means that you write a play or a screenplay or a book, you do it. This is the year, 3 things for you. Spiritual growth for you. Go out and find people that can teach you what it is that you want to know. It's about creative art forms. There will be 2 forms of art that you pick up on this year. One that will be the step on from the other. Go out and do that. And the third thing is the need for you to look after your physical, but essentially your emotional health as well. I'm going to finish this off by telling you about your Celtic birth tree, which in fact is broom. Now broom, we talked about this before in the context of this reading, but broom is often seen by the Druids as a tree of wisdom. This is your birth tree, of course. So for you, this talks about wisdom, and that goes very much with hazel, which of course is about wisdom, with willow, and of course with apple. So you put all those together and it's all about innate wisdom for you. Broom people are wise. They're very complex though as well. They're fearless, they're independent, and they have an incredible amount of strength and capacity to adopt and go to take on board new changes. That's really important for you. I also wanted to tell you about your Celtic animal oracle card, and it is bee, and this is fantastic for you. Bee or beach, this is a card of celebration. That coming year ahead for you is a massive year of growth, which is fantastic, and B kind of celebrates that for you as well. But it asks you to think about those innate capabilities that you have and how you are going to celebrate those and how you are going to grow those, and we've talked about that as well. B also says that you never do things alone. Now think about B. B works with other bees. B is part of a community. It's a little bit like Star Trek with 7 of 9, and you know how the Borg all work together. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that takes away your individuality. It doesn't at all, and we know that it won't, because you're going to be establishing your creativity, which will make you an individual, but you need the help of other people to get there. So if that means that you take on an art teacher if it's art, a craft teacher if it's craft you want to do, if you take on a course that teaches you how to write, so be it. It needs to be done with support from other people. B also says that you're going to give those services back to other people as well. So you're not just going to use that new creativity that you develop for yourself for your own benefit. You're going to give it back to the community. So I'm really going to encourage you to pick up with this, run with it, and offer it back to the broader community in whatever context it is that works for that. It's really important in the next year that you look for people that harmonise with where you want to go. So if that means that the people at work do not support you and don't make you feel comfortable, you go off, as we talked